What is up, you guys? It's your boy Peace. How you guys doing? So yes, this is the review of the brand new MacBook Air M2 model. I've been using this device for around a week and a half now, and I do have some interesting thoughts about this laptop. So let me start talking and let's get right into it. The hardware design on this laptop is just simply amazing. The M2 Air is so light and thin, it fits in any type of backpacks and tote bags. And if you're a person who loves to use tote bags, good news, M2 Air is one for you. But seriously, I love the design of the brand new M2 Air and the MacBook Pros 14 and 16 inches. Those boxy, square, retro, futuristic design reminds me of the old PowerBook G4. I think that's the name of the laptop, but it feels very modern, but at the same time very nostalgic, and I'm digging it so far and I really like it. Some of the things I don't like about the design is that the USB-C ports are all on the left side. So let's say if you want to plug a USB-C monitor with your M2 Air on the left side of your main monitor, you won't be able to plug the USB-C on the right side of your Mac. So I think this is kind of weird, but at the same time, we do have the MagSafe back and the headphone jack, so I'm still chilling. Since the M2 model has a brand new design for the ARM chip, not like the previous M1 model, which used the same design from the previous Intel models. So they just swapped internally on that one. However, this model has a brand new design for it. So for that reason, the speakers are now hidden between the display and the keyboard. It's in the hinge part, but sound quality wise is not that different compared to the M1 model, which is a good thing because the M1 model has a great speakers. I can listen to music, I can watch YouTube videos, Amazon Prime, Netflix, etc. And I'm totally content with it. I don't need a speaker, or sometimes I don't even use my headphones to listen to music on this because the speaker is good. The Touch ID got bigger, which is awesome. The keyboard is fantastic as usual. I've been loving the previous MacBook's keyboard and this one is no exception. And the trackpad did not get bigger, but it's super reliable just like all the Macs, and I've been loving it so far. The trackpads on Macs, man, it's just super good. One heads up though, I know the webcam is now finally 1080p. However, in the real day in life usage, my friend told me that it looks exactly the same from the previous 720p resolution.
I can't really tell much of a difference, yeah.
So I don't know, on the paper 1080p sounds great, but in the real life it looks kind of the same. The screen is amazing, 500 nits is bright enough. I was able to edit a video outside of the cafe on like those outdoor seats. I mean, I was in the shades, but still I was able to edit videos and I had no problems with it. But one thing to notice is that this display does not have a promotion display, so it is 60 Hertz. But hey, this is not a pro lineup nor a gaming PC, so you don't really need 120 Hertz. And I'm totally fine with it. I'm totally fine with 60 Hertz. The display is still beautiful and I'm okay with it. The previous M1 Air was famously known for its battery life, and the M2 Air is exactly the same. I can use this device around a day and a half easily, especially if I'm not using anything CPU intensive, such as writing documents, making presentation, writing stuff on Notion, and etc. Even when I'm using some of those heavier apps such as Final Cut Pro, Photoshop, and Lightroom for me, I still can use this laptop around, let's say, 50 to 75% of the day. So the battery life is fantastic and it's great. Like, it's not better than the M1, I'll say, but it's still good as the M1, and that's a great thing. For the everyday performance, yes, even the base model can handle it perfectly. I bought the base model on purpose because the majority of the people who are buying this laptop is going to buy the cheapest one. And we all know that this base model does get a lot of hate because of the lack of NAND chip on SSD, so slower transferring speed, 8GB of RAM, and 8 GPU cores. But I'm not gonna lie, this laptop can handle the majority of the stuff that we do, even the base model. Because one time I had around 14 to 20 tabs open on Chrome while using other applications such as Notion, Apple Notes, Todoist, and Photoshop, and I was not using for a short period of time as well. I was using for around an hour and a half, and this laptop was running smoothly. Even gaming as well. I'm not a huge gamer on a laptop, especially on the Mac, but I occasionally play GTA San Andreas, and I have to say, it was running totally fine. It was running smoothly, but after maybe let's say 2 hours, maybe hour and a half, it started to show some, frame drop here and there. But for occasional use, just for having fun and playing game, it's totally fine. The base model is just fine. When it comes to video editing, I've edited multiple IG Reels on this laptop using Final Cut. If you're not following me on IG, please do, because I am putting a lot of effort. This laptop was handling it totally fine. If you edit for a long period of time, I felt the device got a bit hot, but surprisingly, the video editing process was really smooth and I didn't have any problem. In terms of the video's quality that you're editing, if you're editing clips from an iPhone, even 4K 60, this laptop will perform fantastically on Final Cut Pro. It didn't show any sweats and it was running like breeze. However, if you're getting a little professional or getting a little bougie and starting to use those log footages from a DSLR or mirrorless camera and starting to use a bunch of effects such as motion blur and whatnot, the M2 Air will definitely show its lack of cooling capability, and especially in the base model, the 8GB RAM and 8 GPU cores will definitely show their struggles. However, if you're creating videos for some of your school project, making mock images on Photoshop, creating presentations on Google Slides, this laptop will do its job and it will do at their very best with a great thin and light hardware. I have no hate or beef to anyone who are reviewing this, but the most of the people who are reviewing this device does have a conservative model, which is 16GB RAMs, 10 GPU cores, and 512GB of SSD or above. But I'm embodying here that most of the people who are buying this Air model will be fine with the base model. I mean, at least get the bigger storage space. I mean, 256GB of storages are not enough. So maybe bump it up to 512 gigs, but at the same time, the base model, 8 GPU cores, 8GB RAMs are totally enough.
Losing all my focus, I can't even control it.
Alright, so the final conclusion, is the M2 Air worth it or not? I mean, it really depends. Because if you purely aiming for the performance of the M2 chip, I might sound crazy, but the 13-inch Pro model starting to make sense. Because if we want to get the non-controversial model, which is 10-core GPU, 16GB of RAM, and 512GB SSD, you can get a very similar spec on the 13-inch Pro with the exact same price of $1699 US. However, not only that, from the same spec, if you bump the RAM size up to 24GB on the M2 Air, you're only $100 away from the MacBook Pro 14-inch, which has M1 Pro chip and better hardware such as ProMotion display, better speakers, and SD card slot. Excuse me from my closet, but the reason why I said the 13-inch Pro might be better is because the Pro model does have fans in it, and especially if you want to do some creative apps such as Final Cut Pro and Photoshop and stuff, and if you're editing for a long period of time, you're gonna need that cooling. However, the performance increase is very small, and if you really want to do some creative stuff and long time editing, you're gonna need a 14-inch. But I don't know, it's very hard to decide because the M2 Air does look cool as hell, and majority of people will be fine with the base model because this video is edited on the M2 Air. But anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss my next video. I will leave 2 of my favorite videos here, my most recent video here on my channel here. Anyway guys, I hope you guguys have a great, awesome day. My name is Peace Gates and you guys already know. Peace out guys.